Hello and welcome back to my channel. It feels like the longest time since I've actually sat down and filmed a video. If you've been keeping up with my channel, you'll know that I started a new job about 6 weeks ago. So I filmed all of my videos, edited them and scheduled them on YouTube ready to go so that I wouldn't have to stress about doing that while starting my new job. So it has literally been so long since I've actually sat down and filmed something. So I am back. It is November now, which is crazy, which means this is the month that it's been a year since I've been on YouTube, which feels really weird. I still feel very new starting. This video is slightly delayed. We're going to be talking about the books that I read in October. I literally didn't have time to get around to doing it and posting it for the end of October, so here it is today. So as I said, I have been at a new job. I started at Bonnier Books UK in the children's team, working across 5 different imprints, so that's Piccadilly Press, Templar, Big Picture Press, Studio Press and Hotkey. So there are a mix of ages, so Piccadilly Press for example is like 9 to 12, 7 to 12, and Hotkey is more like teen and YA, so I've got a real like mix of books. So in order to kind of market them and like work on them to the best way possible, obviously it's really kind of like recommended that you read all of the books that you're working on. So literally all of the books that I've read this month are from work. So luckily this didn't cost me anything. I started off with a YA book. I started off Excuse Me Why I Ugly Cry. Excuse Me Why I Ugly... I don't know why I can't say. Excuse Me Why I Ugly Cry by Joya, and this was a book about a teenage girl who is at school and she relies on journals and lists to like get her through life, and she writes it about like her crushes, all the things that she wants to do before she leaves school and all of this, and she kind of uses it as a kind of like therapy, I guess. And one day it goes missing, and the person that has taken it has started to blackmail her and saying that they're going to start kind of like leaking some of her list to the rest of the school. And they do it once, saying, I think it's like her list that's like all the things that she's supposed to do by the end of school, and that gets leaked, and they say you have to do one of these things a day, otherwise I'm going to start leaking all of your other lists that are like really secret and just obviously mean a lot to her. So it's a book that kind of covers romance, secrecy, friendship, bit of like blackmail, and it's all about kind of like discovering who you really are and the main character kind of like accepting herself for herself. I absolutely love the way that each chapter starts as a new list. So for example, chapter 13 is called What I Know About My Father. So if I go to the contents page, for example, there are 28 chapters, and there's, you know, if I could change one thing about today, how to solve the case of the missing journal, how to make new friends. So it's a very kind of like young book, perfect for people that are in secondary school and that are maybe dealing with a bit of like loneliness or making friends problems. Really kind of like heartwarming. The reason it's called Excuse Me Why I Ugly Cry, which I think is a fantastic title, is because she sort of talks in this book about how she ugly cries, and there's a list of all the places that she's ugly cried and reasons why she's ugly cried. So that is the first one that I read. I then moved on to a completely different genre and something that's not like me. I never really read kind of like thriller, fantasy, stuff like that, but I thought perfect for Halloween. I read House of Hollow by Krystal Sutherland. This is a hotkey book as well, and it's a kind of like a smaller book, and it's about 3 sisters that go missing for an entire month, and then they return with all these scars on their bodies and they don't remember anything that happened about them. It's kind of like them discovering what happened while they went missing, like their mother and father discovering like what happened to them. It's a really creepy read. I actually really enjoyed it because it was just very, it was kind of like quick to read. It was kind of like very page turning. I was just kind of like just on the edge of my seat, like what's gonna happen, like why did they go missing, what is this all about? Definitely kind of like weirder than I thought it was gonna be. It was one of those ones where like I don't want to say too much because there's a couple of like twists in it, but I was just kind of reading it thinking that this could easily be real. And that's one thing that really stuck with me, that it was really heavily descriptive in terms of like I could actually visualize what was happening, and for me I find that quite hard normally, where I can't actually picture what's going on in the story. But with House of Hollow by Krystal Sutherland, I definitely felt that's possible. I felt that I could see everything that the characters were going through. So that is definitely perfect for like the kind of like spooky seasons, the wintry November, December nights. That's House of Hollow. I then kind of eventually went down in the age group, so I then read Elephant in the Room, which is a Piccadilly hastily pressed book. It's kind of a smaller book, again, kind of the same size of House of Hollow, I guess. This book is not what I thought it was going to be about at all. This book is kind of about like immigration. So it's about, I mean, I honestly thought it was going to be like a very young book. It does deal with some sensitive topics like immigration, obviously. So it's about the main character, Sila, I think her name is. Sila, yeah. Her mother has been sent back to Turkey for some immigration problems, and it's about Sila kind of like dealing with that on her own. And she befriends this kind of like old man that adopts this circus elephant. So that's why it's called Elephant in the Room. That doesn't actually happen till quite far into the book though, because originally I was like, obviously the elephant in the room is a phrase. I was confused first of all why it was called Elephant in the Room. I thought maybe they're just using that as a phrase, like is there actually going to be an elephant in the story? And there is an elephant in the story, but it does come kind of like later. So if you're suddenly thinking what is this about, it does come eventually. And then when it does, it's just like really heartwarming, really sweet. For me personally, I would have liked to see more plot, like more storyline actually happen, and so I would just bear in mind that it's a little bit of a slow book for obviously younger people, but yeah, just bear in mind that it's a bit of a slow read. But that was Elephant in the Room. Then again, moving even further down in the age category, I then read This Book is Pants, which took me probably all of 5 minutes. As you can see, this book has got a corner cut out, which means that if you open it to a certain page, for example this one that has all the elephants in, you can stand up and they can be your pants, which is perfect picture opportunity. So if you have any younger people in your life, or if you just fancy taking a picture like that, then I would definitely recommend standing up, taking some pictures of you wearing the different pants. This does have a storyline, of course. It's not just pages of pants, even though that does seem what it's like. I feel like you just can't fault this book. It's a very light-hearted, very funny, very entertaining book that you could definitely pick up at any time and keep reading. I feel like children especially will love this because it's just kind of like a silly, easy read. There's really not a lot of words at all, sort of like a few per page. They talk about something on the text pages and then it's related to the pants pages afterwards. So this one says, "It all started one day when I decided to go to space. I built a rocket and made a helmet, but something was missing. I needed space pants." So then the next page is obviously space pants, and it goes on like that throughout, and I just really liked it. It's like, again, very just happy, fun book that children can just keep forever until they grow up, and yeah, can't fault it. Then finally, another book that I probably read in about 5 minutes is Leo and the Octopus. This is a book about Leo who struggles with autism, and it's a very kind of simple but effective exploration of that and how he finds things a little bit difficult to process than others, such as like sensory problems. It's basically just filled with these beautiful illustrations about him meeting this octopus and how they're actually really similar in some ways, more than he expected. And so it's just a very kind of like nice, easy read that is sensitive in some ways, but it's good for children and for parents as well, for kind of like understanding some aspects of autism. Those last 2 books were Templar books as well. So they were the 5 books that I read in October 2021. So it is now November, so I have read a couple books already, or 1.5 books already. The first of which I am still not over, so watch out for my November roundup where I'm going to be talking about that. I'm probably going to do a whole nother video on that just because I loved it so much. If you are wanting to know what that book is, head over to my Bookstagram, which is Eleanor, ELEANORM, Rose with 2 E's, and you can get like a sneak peek of all the books that I've been reading at the moment. I am kind of like trying to jazz up my Bookstagram a bit more, trying to play around with like my Photoshop skills and taking some new photos of my books because I didn't like the way that I was kind of like running the theme of my Bookstagram before. So if you would like to keep up with the books that I'm reading, then I will put my Bookstagram down in the comments below, so follow me on there and keep up with everything that I'm reading. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of these books or you're interested in any of these books, and hopefully see you in my next one. Bye!